All right, let's talk some bench press. Let's talk the Edward Aston article I just put up. First things first, the big thing for me that I got from it was the tilt of the hand. You know, when you think it makes sense to have something at a balance point. And that's fine if you're going to do some, lighter lifting. But when you do this, when you're trying to balance, you're doing two things. You're not just lifting, but you're lifting and trying to maintain a balance. Okay, so is there a way that I can have more force, more drive? If you look at the natural position of your hand, do you hold it like this? No. It's your natural position. You close that hand, there's your angle right there. So that's your angle. So I'll use that not just on bench pressing. It's a big help on the one hand get up. It's a big help when I'm doing jerks. Now I don't have to worry about balancing, because as soon as you push, and if you get a little too much one way or the other, it's something you're trying to compensate for. Okay, remove that. Make it so all you got to worry about is your drive into that arm. Well, if you hold like this, you can drive as hard as you want, whether it's a jerk, a one-hand get-up, doesn't matter if it's a bench presses. When you have that position, you can drive as hard as you want. And you don't have to worry about balance. You're not going to worry about the helicopter of death on the bench press, as David Whitley calls it. So that part I would definitely take away from that article. The rest of it, I think you got to understand with the bench press that there's a couple of different ways I think he's alluding to, and I think if you have to understand the difference. And from my experience, if you're going to do a even spaced bench press, okay, the foot stance is even, not one foot in front of the other, but it's an even stance. You're going to have to do more of a twist to get where you want to be. Okay? Whereas if you're doing the traditional, well, for me the traditional, I got the non-lifting side leg is much further ahead than the lifting side leg. And you've already got some of that twist already happening because you've got the hips, this hip canted forward already. So it's more of just leaning forward to get that position you want. Okay? So why this matters, or how this matters to you, is that you need to think of the bench press, you need to think of the entirety, your center of gravity, the bench press bar, or the weight, the center of gravity of that. You need to think about that it's not just lifting the weight up or lifting the weight over. You have to think about what is the least amount of movement I can do. Okay, so when Aston's talking about trying to keep the weight instead of resting, what I normally do is this. I think he's talking more about keeping the feet closer together and starting with a bit of a twist so that the weight is closer to being centered already. I think he's trying to minimizing the amount of movement of the weight away from your center of gravity. So I think he's saying, if you can start with more of the weight between the legs, there's going to be less shifting of you around, like right now. And of course, this is a ridiculously light weight, but I really don't have to do much to get centered under it, Whereas the style I normally use, I'm going to shift all the way over to the other leg. Then I've got to come back over to get centered and then come back up. So which one is better? Technically the one that you have to move the least, that you have to separate the center of gravity of you and the bar. If you can keep them, if you could look at me from overhead, yeah, if you can keep your feet together, feet close, parallel with each other, in line with each other, and you can start out more twisted back already, like this, you've already got your twist done up here. rather than making this the twisted position, having that already there, you know. So I would say, yeah, if you can keep your feet parallel to each other, you can start with that twist and you can keep it more centered as you lift it, that'd be great. What's going to limit you is your amount of flexibility or mobility. It's how long your arms are, how long your torso is, how much you need to land on that leg. And these are things you'll have to figure out for yourself, and maybe you can do both sides, I don't know. But it's a good article, and I think it's one that a beginner could appreciate, but I think it's more so if you're more of a moderate to expert, at least experience-wise in lifting, you'll really kind of read between the lines and try to get at what he's saying as to why you should start more between the feet. But to do that, you're going to have to be more twisted. You can't start out here, obviously, because it's not between the feet. So you're going to have to turn more at the beginning to get that between the feet, and then come over. So it's a lot like a Jefferson lift. You can either, start a Jefferson lift facing the plates, or you can start with a Jefferson lift where the plates are on each side of you. One has already got you pre-twisted and ready to go. The other one, it's going to try to twist you on the way up. It's the same type of thing. You have to pick. Do you want to start with the twist that you do yourself, muscle-wise, or do you want to set that twist already by shifting the hip over? I hope this makes sense. If you haven't done a lot of bench pressing, it probably won't. But I think those of you that are trying to find more answers, more information on it, if you think about what I say, and of course if you want to ask me questions, but I think it's just the difference of, you're going to end up, if you got the mobility, to start here and try to keep it centered. If you can do that, that's great. The other one, you're going to be shifting from this leg to the other leg. And it depends, a lot of it is what you like, in addition to your mobility and your body proportions, and you can try to be good at both. Be the best you can at both. You can keep records for both types, both styles. And you might, because like if you're right-handed, you might find, this style is easier right-handed, and you might find Aston style, if you want to call it that, easier left-handed. Who knows? But those are just my thoughts. I welcome any opinions, any questions, any ideas, anything you want to add to it. I'll be glad to, whatever you guys want to talk about. But I hope this helps. Take care and God bless everyone.